O Lord my God, in thee do I put my trust. Save me from all them that persecute me, and deliver me, lest he tear my soul like a lion, rending it in pieces, while there is none to deliver. O Lord my God, if I have done this, if there be iniquity in my hands, if I have rewarded evil unto him that was at peace with me, yea, I have delivered him that without cause is mine enemy. Let the enemy persecute my soul, and take it. Yea, let him tread down my life upon the earth, and lay mine honour in the dust. Selah. Arise, O Lord, in thine anger, lift up thyself because of the rage of mine enemies, and awake for me to the judgment that thou hast commanded. So shall the congregation of the people compass thee about. For their sakes, therefore, return thou on high. The Lord shall judge the people. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness, and according to mine integrity that is in me. Oh, let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just, for the righteous God trieth the hearts and reins. My defence is of God, which saveth the upright in heart. God judgeth the righteous, and God is angry with the wicked every day. If he turn not, he will whet his sword. He hath bent his bow and made it ready. He hath also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the persecutors. Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and hath conceived mischief, and brought forth falsehood. He made a pit, and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. His mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pate. I will praise the Lord according to his righteousness, and will sing praise to the name of the Lord Most High. The psalm presented is a passionate and profound prayer by an individual turning to God for protection and justice in the face of persecution. The speaker begins by affirming their trust in God, pleading for deliverance from those who pursue them with malicious intent. The imagery used in the opening verses is vivid and striking as the speaker compares the threat posed by their enemies to a lion ready to tear apart their soul. This conveys the intense fear and desperation felt, emphasizing the danger and urgency of the situation. Yet, the psalmist recognizes the importance of self-examination and accountability. The plea for deliverance is tempered by a willingness to suffer the consequences if guilty of wrongdoing. The mention of directing evil against someone at peace signals that the speaker is aware of the possibility of their own sinfulness. This acknowledgement reflects a deep sense of justice and integrity, highlighting the speaker's desire for righteousness and fairness rather than mere self-preservation. If found guilty of iniquity or of betraying someone who was once an enemy without cause, the psalmist is prepared to face any retribution from the enemy. A transition occurs as the speaker calls for God to rise in anger and address the rage of their enemies. The appeal is for divine intervention and judgment, signifying a belief that only God's justice can effectively deal with the situation. The speaker expresses a wish for God to arise and restore order, reinforcing the faith that ultimate justice lies within God's domain. The psalmist is confident that when God renders judgment, everyone will gather around him. This image portrays God as a supreme judge before whom all people come, emphasizing God's authority and power that transcends human limitations. By seeking God's judgment, the speaker demonstrates their faith in divine justice as being more righteous and fair than any human arbitration. The essence of the psalm is further revealed as the speaker calls for the end of wickedness and the establishment of justice. This marks a shift from a personal plea to a broader, more universal appeal. The speaker recognizes God's role as a righteous judge who tests hearts and minds, suggesting that only God truly understands the inner motivations and character of every individual. Trust in God's righteous nature underpins the psalmist's confidence that justice will ultimately prevail. The speaker reassures themselves that their defense rests in God, an affirmation of faith that highlights God's love and protection over those with integrity. The belief that God saves those who are upright in heart is central to the message, conveying assurance that God will protect and vindicate the just. In the ensuing verses, the psalm reflects on the divine response to wickedness. There exists the certainty that if the wicked do not turn away from their actions, God will prepare to enact justice, symbolized by the whetting of a sword and the readiness of a bow. This imagery of weaponry illustrates that God is not passive, but actively prepares to confront and correct evil. The preparation of instruments of death and ordination of arrows against persecutors underline the imminent and inevitable nature of divine justice. The psalmist goes further to illustrate the self-destructive tendencies of evil. The imagery of an individual conceived with iniquity, involved in mischief and manifesting falsehood, portrays the natural consequences of sin and deceit. The imagery of digging a pit and falling into it highlights the idea that the wicked will ultimately fall victim to their own schemes, an expression of the concept of poetic justice where one's mischief rebounds upon oneself. The culmination of this idea suggests that the outcomes of evil are, in many ways, self-inflicted, reinforcing the ultimate futility of wickedness. The psalm concludes on a note of praise, as the speaker commits to praising God for his righteousness and singing praises to the name of the Most High. This resolution to praise grounds the entire psalm in an awareness of the divine nature that is both just and worthy of worship. The praise emerges from a place of trust and thanksgiving, acknowledging the supreme righteousness of God to whom all praise is due. It indicates a transformation of the speaker's initial plea for personal deliverance into an expression of steadfast faith and reverence for God's enduring justice and moral order.